Hello, welcome back to the queue. Back for me because I just spent the last weekend in southern France. Wait a minute, southern USA in Atlanta. Southern France sounds kind of cool though, but I haven't been there, so I couldn't tell you. But I have been to Atlanta. We were just there over the weekend. We played the BBR 42 game and then one game of the 40 for 3 days. And we had multiple games going at the same time. There was quite a group of people there. And, you know, when I say people, really these are some guys that I've come to know as friends over the years, the last 2 years, I should say, from when I went to the first BBR tournament, you know, in 2018. And I had really only conversed with Sired a little bit, you know, through emails and comments on his YouTube channel, and really I knew a couple of the other guys' faces from other YouTube channels, but I did not know anyone. But like I said, there's quite a few, and not all of them were there that I would consider friends, but from that first tournament. But there are several that are really good friends, and we were there playing, having fun, eating, joking, and I didn't go there expecting anything. I did know G.I. Joe. We stayed at, or played at his house, I should say, and he did alert us that he was making one of these Japanese figure boxes for everyone that came. And you can see the compartments, and he has it on his video too. And he gave one of these to all of us, which, you know, that was, you know, a lot of time and effort goes into this. So thanks very much, G.I. Joe. That was really cool. And his shop is right off his war room in the basement. So he was actually spraying some pieces for one of the guys, and this kind of has that smell to it. So it's kind of like almost being there, which it's pretty cool. He did give me that and 3 Calvary, which would be the set that would be used in a BBR game for China. So those are pretty cool. There's a picture of that up there. One of the other things Wartorn brought down from Canada, he brought some of these, and they're for the flight stands. And let me pull this off of a bomber, and the little flight stands, you can, and he made them separate so you can configure them differently, but you know, the flight stand fits in there like that, you know. And G.I. Joe's done a video on he's already made his box for the flight stands, and it looks pretty cool. But I haven't decided yet if I'm going to try and cut it up and make it fit, you know, in this wooden tray that I've got here. I could probably also use a dice tray and put it in there, just so that you can have the flight stands in there to pass around the table for whoever needs one. And of course then one of my thoughts is taking super glue on the bottom of this and sticking it in one of the holes so it never comes out, and see who's the person that grabs that one, and joke's on them, huh? But then I'd have to ruin a flight stand, but it might be worth a joke. But that's kind of how I roll. And one of the other things, the little holes that you see in here, they were laser cut out of this PDF board, I think it's called. And he made some flight markers, which, you know, are similar to the ones that you see from HGB. They have a number on them, and then on the back they're blank. Well, he made these, you know, and they're obviously smaller, but they actually work pretty good because we used them in the games. And he put numbers on both sides so that, you know, whenever they're piled in a box, you can always see the numbers you're going to get. So that was a real good use of the little holes for those flight stands. So use every piece you can. The final and most interesting thing that I got was another map. And Lieutenant Dan had brought this map, and I don't know if you've seen it on any of his videos or what, but let's go take a look at it. Alright, so let's take a look at this map. Drum roll, please. Alright, so there it is, and I know you're thinking, well, it's kind of just a BBR map. Well, not so. If you look closely, and I don't think we can get it close on the camera, but let me take it off and see if we can, and if not, then I'll take some individual pictures and we'll go from there. See, I think that shadow is going to be in the way ever getting on top of that. Alright, so that's failing. Let me see if I can do it differently. Before we get looking at the map, here's the key. It tells you kind of all the different things that are on there. You know, it tells you which circles are ships sunk by submarines from which country. The other item there is the ship country designators, like, you know, on the larger ships like the cruisers and battleships, you know, which nation they belong to, along with a naval ship type. Alright, now that I've figured a way to get the shadows off of there, as you look at the Philippines, this map displays ships that have been sunk in the war, from cruisers up through aircraft carriers. It doesn't include the smaller craft, destroyers, torpedo boats, that kind of thing. It also includes merchant ships that were sunk by submarines. So, as you can tell, Lieutenant Dan put in a lot of time and effort on this map, tracing down where all those ships were sunk. And, you know, the Philippines is a pretty large area, but you can see the number of ships that were sunk there. Another huge area in the Pacific is down here around Guadalcanal Canal and the New Guinea area. A lot of action went on there in the early couple years of the war. But the interesting thing too is he's got on here the carriers here that went to Hawaii and bombed Pearl Harbor. He's got the route, he's got where they launched from, the planes, the direction they came in, the ships that were sunk in Pearl Harbor. I mean, that's pretty cool. And right off to this way is Midway, and you've got all the carriers and ships that were sunk there, the positions that the Japanese movement of their navy in that battle, and it just is on and on and on. There's the Doolittle raid, and they flew into Japan and where they attacked and came across to try and land in China. And of course, now that I'm looking at it, that looks like that's landing in Amur. So I mean, oh, I had it mistaken. Here's the Doolittle raid here, coming in this way and going off here and landing in China. So I'm going to have to look at that map a little closer. But you know what? It does say this is a Doolittle raider, one of their planes. So one of their planes must have went up to Russia here in Amur. I'm not extremely familiar with where they were all. I thought they were all to land in China to try and get into the free zone of China, but I know they had to launch early and they didn't make it. Some of these other routes here coming down from Marianas would be where the nuclear bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So this has the Enola Gay route here, and let me see if I can find here's Boxcar, which would be the second one. So I mean that's pretty cool. So a lot of naval action, and I'm going to go over here to the Pacific side, or the Atlantic side I should say, sorry, and give you an indication. And it kind of looks like that map has got measles. It really does here in the Atlantic. But all those red dots are German U-boats that had, victims that were sunk by German U-boats. I mean, it's just crazy the amount of detail here. And now you got these yellow dots, and those are German ships sunk by British submarines. I thought that was real interesting. And in here in the Baltic there's a few, but some of the other interesting areas, try not to go too fast, off the coast of Canada and the US. I mean, look at those pockets of just red. New Orleans, man, that was a brutal spot too. And then you got some more down here in Venezuela. And I don't know if you can see on the map, but there's some green dots in there as well. And those are Italian subs. And there's a lot more Italian ships that were sunk by Italian subs than I kind of realized. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And then of course you go into the Med here, and it's just, another ship graveyard. So that's pretty cool. And then on land, if we took a closer look at some of the land areas, you can see some of the battles, and there's some different concentration camps are marked on there, and just a whole bunch of information that I'm going to have to spend a lot of time looking at this map, which, I'm good with that. You got the Maginot Line on there in France. Just a ton of information. And the map itself is just a little bit larger than what'll fit on table 2, but on my first table it's going to fit on there nicely. So the next time we have a game, I'll be playing on this. And then here you can see the it's a circle with a red circle in it. That's ships that were sunk by Japanese, and they're all throughout the Indian Ocean, and quite a few of them over here down in Africa. I'm starting to get that shadow there. I'm getting too far over there, but this is that's pretty cool. Like I said, I'm going to be spending some time. Matter of fact, I'm just going to turn the camera off right now and spend some quality time. I'll get back to you on the rest of this video. Corporal 24 snapped a couple pictures of the game tables, and it looks to me like only Lieutenant Dan was aware he was doing it, other than himself, of course. But that was kind of the way Saturday and Sunday went. We had multiple games going, and then Sunday we had a couple less people, so we combined onto one table. But a lot of the things we did was kind of tweak some of the rules a little bit. We messed around with the heavy tanks, the target select, the resources, as far as where they're located. And then the other thing that we did a lot on was the anti-aircraft. We did some different rules on different tables, trying to figure out which one was, worked out better than the other one. And we did naval anti-aircraft. That's to say the battleship basically performs like an anti-aircraft gun. So if you had 6 planes coming in and you had one battleship, you'd get the standard 3 rolls of 1 an anti-aircraft towards those planes. If you had 2 battleships, then you'd get 6 dice at 1. So that was, I always like to see the naval anti-aircraft. That just kind of, it fits a little more than the planes being completely, well, they're not really defenseless, but it just gives the ships a little better of a chance, I think. And I don't want to go into too much detail on all the rules because I don't know exactly, you know, which ones are decidedly going to be changed. So I don't want to throw out any information that may or may not take place. But it was a fun game all 3 days. We had some good times, ate out once a day somewhere. Joe provided quite a bit of food for us, so that was good. Thank you for that. Thanks for hosting all the games and the rides to and from the airport. It was a good day, or a good weekend, I should say. Long weekend, and looking forward to the next time we can all get together. Until then, keep rolling. Alright, so let's take a look at that map. Drum roll, please. That was somewhat undramatic. Let's see if we can do that again. Alright, here comes the map. Drum roll, please. Start over. Alright, here comes the map. Drum roll, please. Man, this is just not working. I'm gonna have to start over. Alright, so let's take a look at this map. Drum roll, please. That's not a very good unroll. I hate that. Let's do that again.